All right, and we're back from Updoc Media. Ben Fung here with my partner, Gene Shirakabra. Today we're going to be talking about pricing, one of the probably the more neglected dimensions of marketing. And it was kind of based on a blog post that we shared based on the Business Renovations case study series on our blog, Pricing with Clinical Precision. And I guess the background on this is just, marketing is a lot more than promotions, right? Like the marketing mix that is standardly taught in business schools and utilized by a lot of businesses is product, price, placement, and promotions. And the order may switch up around here and there, but it seems that, we spend a lot of time on promotions, right, Gene? Like all I hear about marketing sometimes is promote it. How do I get my company brand out there? How to get my product out there? It's all promotions, but we forget about some of the other dimensions. What's your thoughts on that? How do we center it to a more holistic perspective?
Well, promotion is sexy, right? You have a product, you have an idea, and you want to get it out there. You want people to see it, you want people to touch it, and you want to sell it. So you focus a lot of your energy a lot of times on that promotion. But what happens a lot of times is you start promoting something and you have no idea how effective that idea is, or if you've priced it right. Promotions are great, and again, it falls into a lot of times this subjective world of this is my idea, or this is my product, or this is my service, and it's so close to you that you just want to get it out there, and you're biased and you're clouded a little bit. So we talked before that you need to have a sound strategy, but you also need to do your research. You need to look at the market. You need to look at what competitors are doing, and you have to have a good scope of things. Then you have to step away and have an objective look at the pricing and to see what is the value of your product. And then you kind of have to play a game of what will be the perceived value of the product. I think that's the big thing that a lot of companies don't do. It's they might do the market analysis and research, and this is what my competitors charge. But you don't add the unique value of what you're offering, and then creating that unique value and pricing to it. So I think pricing is critical, because if you price too low, it's not effective. If you price too high, it's not effective. So you really have to have that really good middle ground of effective pricing.
Now, the case study that I shared, pricing with clinical precision, I shared a lot of fairly technical things, creating a demand curve. A lot of that has to do with the market analysis and, finding a fine point between, what you're able to provide your product or services for, because that's your break-even point, and then finding that magic point where you not only drive the healthiest combination of demand, but also find the best profits for your company. Gene, you've had some personal experience with pricing a product. Did you want to share a little bit about your experiences there?
Sure. So when we were launching our product, which is called ARC, we had to do a lot of initial research, right? So we fell into that group. We had a product, so I knew we had something that was really good, because my patients would always ask me for something to use, and there was nothing. I did a lot of research for them, and there was nothing that I found that I would recommend. So we had a good idea, and we had a good concept. So then we started looking at what the market had in this category, and the category was, so here's the ARC. So we created this, and it was in the realm of pain relief, neck pain, posture, things like that. So we had to look at everything that was out there, and we had to decide which category we wanted to be in. So most products have a lower, middle, and upper echelon of pricing. So we looked at all the categories, right? And it was important to us to make it affordable, right? We wanted a great product. That was goal number one. And goal number two is make it affordable, because it doesn't matter how great it is if people are able to buy it. Even if the value justifies the higher cost, we wanted to make sure we got more people. So then you're dealing with margins, versus volume. So we wanted to have a middle ground of the two. So we did our research and we found out that in this category of consumer products for health and wellness, that there was kind of those same three categories that I just mentioned. So the lower end was like the $9.99 region, and it was between $9.99 to like $19.99. That was considered the lower end. The middle end was like $20 to $39.99, $44.99, something like that. And then $44.99 to $99 was the higher end, because once you get into $99, it's a whole different psychological barrier that people have to cross to spend more than $100. So we did a lot of research and we wanted to be in the middle, but we wanted to still be perceived as a higher value or higher echelon product based on the price in the middle ground. So we priced it at $34.99 on sale, but our MSRP is $49.99, which you have to have because it plays into one, psychology of selling a product, but two, it's when you're dealing with retail sales, you always need to have an MSRP and you always sell for less than that to maintain your margins. So we did a lot of that, but it all comes back to goals, psychology, and like you said, margin. You need to know your margins. You need to know what your time, what your resources, what the material costs are, overhead, all that stuff. So all of that has to go into pricing, and then you have to extrapolate that out for sales of your product and for anticipated growth. Hopeful anticipated growth.
I really
so that
like
was kind of our story.
I love how you kept relating the pricing to the placement of the product, right? Because if you go to, I always liken it to the alcohol shelf. If you go to a liquor store, if you're in one of the states where you can buy it at a grocery store, you take a look at your brands of vodkas, and Grey Goose is like way up there, and then you have your store brand down here, and it plays with the psychology of purchase, because you're looking up, you're looking down, you're looking in the middle, where you expect the medium price to be. And pricing is so intimately related with not just the placement of the product, but also just the brand image, right? And I just find it so interesting that so often this is the part that's forgotten, is that so many companies would sell so much more of their products or services if they just priced it better, because it affects where their brand positioning is, which ultimately affects the brand image. And then, like you said, you have to have healthy margins. You can't just sell at the lowest possible price point just to drive demand, because eventually that'll turn on you. You'll flood the market, and then you'll flood the market out of your own business.
You need to have a strategy for scaling, and price is an important component of that, because you don't want to price you out, and you don't want to price yourself too low, because then you can't do promotions. But then again, your perceived value is of a lower quality, and we definitely didn't want to get that from the beginning. We're also a little bit unique because we started with a Kickstarter campaign, and so we did a crowdfunding campaign instead of just more traditional ways of doing the market research and things like that. We got to see on a big scale whether our pricing strategy was sound, and it was. We raised $30,000 in 40 days to get it made. People just really bought it up really quick, and didn't seem to be too bothered by the pricing. That's been kind of consistent throughout. And then whenever we have had sales, we were picked for Amazon Prime Day, and we sold out everything in 40 minutes. We sold out the sale price in 20 minutes. So we sent, Amazon sends you an email. They say, congratulations, we selected you to be part of Amazon Prime Day. And how many units do you want to send? Like, okay, we'll try out like 150 units just to see how it goes. So we send them 150 units, and you get a 4-hour chunk of time. So we were like at 4 p.m. or something like that. So 4 p.m. comes around, and I hit refresh, 0 sales. I was like, okay, I'm just being a little overzealous. 4:04 comes around, 0 sales. 4:10, 0 sales. 4:15, 0 sales. 4:20, all sold out. So there was either a delay. Yeah, it was either a delay between their processing, or I don't know what it was. But in 20 minutes, we sold out every single one. But then people just kept buying. It didn't stop. Like, they bought the sale price and then just bought everything. I mean, they completely wiped us out. And it was every time we launched this like that, we did launch on the Grom, and we sold over 800, something like that within, or 600 within a day or so. We completely sold out as well. So it was, it's been good. It kind of shows that our model has been justified in terms of pricing, because that's one of the first things people see. People see the product, and then people justify their thought process with the price. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Because their inner monologue, can they convince their inner monologue with the price? And that's kind of what you have to do. When you have to think, you have to empathize with the customer. Customers looking at your product and they're going through all the reasons not to buy it. Don't let the price be that final reason that they say, that's too expensive.
And it's another perfect example of how this is it's kind of like a holistic ecosystem, right? Like the your story with the ARC and Amazon Prime Day, what ended up happening was the sales price acted as kind of a cross promotion, as well as a pricing justification. If that many people wanted to wipe out your inventory that quickly, well, I better get on it because there's only going to be so much left.
Yeah, and Amazon does a great job with that, because you have the little trailing bar, 10% left, 5% left, and it's a sociological experiment on the psychology of buying. It is. It really is. It's first of all, it's an atmosphere of buying. So people log in wanting to buy, go Prime Day or the lightning deals or things like that. When you have big sales or Black Friday, you go wanting to buy versus go not wanting to buy. So your brain, your whole chemistry is set to purchase items. So all you have to do is sweeten that environment. And that's the price.
And that is the price. Well, I wanted to close with just a quick talk on how you can, just you as if you have a small business or a large business, you have a business unit, and sadly, Gene, it looks like we lost you to audio only. Hopefully get you back. But there are strategies out there where you don't have to guess and check. You don't have to play chopsticks to find a good, precise pricing strategy, for your business, for your products or product lines or service lines, because that's the very reason why many companies will offer various products with various features at various prices, is to capture larger segments of that market. That's the first P, in the marketing mix of product, is every once in a while, sometimes smaller package or something very valuable sold at a lesser price, even though the price per unit is higher. People buy it because they want that product, but they just can't afford the bigger package. And that's something that, in business, you have to be very precise about it if you really want the optimum results. That's where you can start using stuff like Excel or Minitab or other perhaps more technical and analytical tools to match your pricing strategy, so that the conceptual and the functional framework of your strategy is sound, and then it's backed up by the data, either from the analysis or from a retroactive look of, hey, how were my sales? And oh wow, like there's a terrible chunk over here, or Gene, in your case, it's an awesome place.
That's your thing. You love those Excel spreadsheets and formulas and the numbers.
I love them. I could live off.
You gotta have it. You gotta have it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes my head hurt. I appreciate it. I know the value of it in terms of business structure and strategy, but if I stare at an Excel spreadsheet for too long, smoke starts coming out of my ears. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But it's and you don't have, everybody doesn't have to be a master of numerical analysis, data analysis, right? Like you just need somebody on your team that can stand to do it, that likes to do it, has a passion for it, has fun with it. Because for me, I'm just one of those weird guys. I have fun with, like, when I open up an Excel spreadsheet, I just go, look at all that space. I can, it's a world I can manipulate.
That sounds disgusting.
Well, for those of you that are, looking, if you want some tips, we have a lot of, I actually spelled it out as a tutorial. The blog post is called Case Study Pricing with Clinical Precision. It's on updocmedia.com. You can just go to our blog and click on our popular tags under case study, and you'll see it there. And it's a step-by-step progression of how you can use a function in Excel called Solver. And it basically does all the math for you. All you have to do is put in, your minimal price, the maximum amount of output you have. So, for example, in Gene's business, if you can only create, say, 1,000 arcs in every period of sales, it will take that into account, so you don't get some bogus number where you're making $1 billion because you have an unlimited processing plan, because that's not reality. It'll constrain all those factors for you, and all you have to do is click solve on the solver. And it's a really neat tool. It's one of my favorite tools. So I highly recommend that you take a look. You'd be surprised where you find your pricing strategy and how it relates to the actual numbers. When I do this for a lot of case consultations, people are floored. I remember a PT clinic was offering maintenance wellness visits at $15 per visit per half hour, because they thought that there's no other way they could possibly get people through the door, but they were actually losing all sorts of money that way. And we actually found that
can you see me now, Ben? Am I back on?
Oh, you're back on. Yeah, you've been
okay.
back on for a
I just want to make sure you can see me shaking my head.
At the 15, I'll do it one more time. They were offering wellness sessions, 30 minutes, $15. And that's, if you just the basic math, if you don't know the industry, that's $30 to the hour in revenue. But it would cost, just at least $30 an hour just to pay the physical therapist to be there. We found a magic point, for that particular business. For whatever reason, it was $55. I don't know why. And we found that anything over that, people just didn't buy. And when we offered at like the 30 to 40 ranges, a lot of people wanted to buy, but that clinic just couldn't make it a profitable program that way. And that's actually a good example of sometimes your products or your services, you just have to stick to your value. Don't devalue yourself just to drive volume and demand. Not every instance is volume and demand going to match with your price correctly, where you're going to have, a healthy profit. A lot of times when you just sell at anything, you end up losing money because you're devaluing yourself. You devalue, the positioning of your brand and the perceived value of your products and services, and you end up losing in the, both the short run and the long run. Because then if people go, oh, well, if you're only selling for this, well, is it really all that good? There's a lot of questions that come about it when you don't take pricing as a very, as a foundational framework of your marketing plan. So, well, it's I guess it's getting to that point. Gene, you have anything else to share about, the critical aspect of pricing as the kind of forgotten child of marketing?
Don't forget to ask. Your resources, your community around you are a good resource to start. One of the strategies that was taught to me that's actually very effective is calling your friend or friends. Do a bunch. Tell them about your service. Tell them about what you're thinking about doing it, and then finish out by asking them to buy it and see what they say. Or send them an email with a PayPal link. Say, okay, this is what I'm doing. Here's what I want you to pay me. And see what they say. Some will do it, some might not, and follow up them why they did or why they didn't. It's a good way to start. Whether there's a lot of, you might be thinking, well, I do this, I can't do that. You could definitely make it work for pretty much anything you do, unless you sell $1,000 worth of machines or equipment or something like that. Unless you have loaded friends and communities, but try it out. It's pretty effective. Ask friends, family, colleagues, things like that, and get some good feedback.
It's all about that feedback.
What about you,
right?
Ben?
Without that
feedback, you gotta have the feedback.
You're flying blind, and I agree with you. I think perhaps one of the best ways to do pricing strategies is go not only asking your friends and family, but don't be afraid to do kind of a modified door-to-door type market survey. It's easier with brick and mortar stores because you can actually stop people as they leave your store. But for companies that don't, that's what your marketing department's all about, right? You get your sales and your marketing team members, make those calls and get those price points so you can actually develop a demand curve and realize for yourself, realistically, where is your company's products and services in regards to how much value and perceived value that you can actually sell it for. That's probably the best way is to kind of modify that A/B split that's so popular nowadays, but to make it A through Z. Like, hey, I got this thing. Would you buy it for $50? Yeah, I'll buy it for $50. And then I have this thing. What about $20? Everybody, oh yeah, I'll totally buy that for $20. And you can start to grasp for yourself where in the demand curve your company resides for that particular product or service line. And from there, very, very accurate ways for a pricing schema. And then you try it out. You launch it and see what happens. And if it does just as well as the mathematical product models projected, then you're right on track. And if it's lower or higher, then you have something to tweak on, right? Because if it's lower, then there may be some inaccuracies in your market surveys. If it's higher, well, then you have a lot more earning potential to play with. And it could be the case that maybe you are the upper echelon brand, and maybe you should go there. Maybe you should compete with the big boys, and that's a marvelous thing. So that's pricing.
That's it. In the
So
20
just
minute
remember,
nutshell.
pricing is one of the 4 foundational components of marketing, right? Product, price, placement, and promotion. Focus not only on one or the other, because they all relate, right? The product itself has its own placeable abilities, and there's certain ways to promote certain types of products or services. And the price itself relays in terms of the perceived value of the product, as well as where it's positioned in the marketplace as a upper, middle, or lower echelon offering. So hope you enjoyed this blab. I'm Ben, signing off from UpDoc Media, and my partner,
Gene Shiraka. We'll see you next week.
Take care.